Good evening and welcome to the Job Search Solution, the radio program where we talk about looking for a job, changing jobs, changing careers, hiring. And as always, we begin with a prayer. Dear God, grant us thy peace and thy mercy, thy will be done. And as always, in just a few minutes, Rich Levinsky is going to be with us talking about consultants in the workplace. He has a real interesting topic this evening. You'll want to stay tuned. I want to spend this and the next couple of video sessions on the topic of body language. And I can't tell you the number of times over the years that a candidate's body language in the interviewing situation is so important and how it ends up just messing up the interviewing process and costs the candidate the job. Back in 1969, McGill University did a study, and they claimed that the people made a decision about hiring somebody within the first 4 minutes of the interview. First 4 minutes. Career Builder did a study not too long ago that says that people decide to hire somebody in 30 seconds or less. And your body language sets the stage. Looking for a job is emotional, and many times people don't do it the right way. I'll give you an example of this, and this is a sad story, but we recently had an excellent candidate who had 20 years of business experience in the project consulting arena, both in selling as well as leading the consulting projects that he had sold. One of the country's most elite project consulting organizations that we put him in touch with was interested in hiring him. They had interviewed 28 candidates and had boiled it down to this one guy. Their procedure was to have the candidate, after he had 5 or 6 interviews with the partners, 4 or 5 video interviews, a telephone interview with the CEO. The last and final interview was to fly to St. Louis and visit with the CEO. All of the 28 other candidates were eliminated. And after 3 or 4 of all of these interviews, they decided that this guy was the best. Even one of the VPs told me that they can't wait to get him to St. Louis and get him hired. Well, he flew to the corporate office late one afternoon and prepared for his face-to-face meeting with the CEO early the next morning. Unfortunately, the meeting with the CEO lasted only 15 minutes. The CEO told the candidate in the first 12 minutes, after the first 12 minutes of the meeting, that he was not what the company was looking for. And the CEO thanked him for his time and told him to fly back and wished him luck in his flight back to Dallas. The candidate was absolutely devastated. He was perfect for the job, and every one of the partners, as well as the VPs with whom he had met, knew that too. But here's what happened. The candidate arrived at the CEO's office 15 minutes early, just like he should. However, he didn't smile and was not warm at all to the CEO's administrator. He didn't even say anything much beyond, "I'm here to see the CEO." He was not dressed appropriately, although he did wear a suit. His striped shirt and polka dot tie were totally mismatched, according to what the CEO said. When he walked into the CEO's office, he walked real slowly with no authority or energy and just a lot of lethargy. He did not initiate a handshake, and when the CEO did, he gave the CEO a very limp handshake, and according to the CEO, his sweaty palms didn't help at all. Again, he didn't smile, and he did not look the CEO in the eye. According to the CEO, he slumped down in his chair, crossed his legs, and gazed down at his shoes almost as he was looking sad. And then he asked the question, "What would you like to know?" Well, the conversation, according to the CEO, was stilted and lethargic. The candidate continued to slump in his chair, and his eyes were darting around the office. His speech came across very slow and tentative. There were long, pensive pauses before he answered the CEO's questions. No animation and no enthusiasm at all. His gestures and his speech were just plain weak. And this was a $200,000 a year job, and then bonuses of another $200,000. Now, the candidate admitted that he had not interviewed in a very long time. He hadn't practiced interviewing. He hadn't followed the job search solution, which we teach. Even though he had 20 solid years of experience, he really wasn't prepared for the interview. He said that the CEO's office and the CEO were very intimidating, and it was early in the morning. He wasn't prepared. His flight had gotten in at 1 a.m., very late, obviously, the morning before the interview. And he hadn't gone to the cleaners to get appropriate shirts and ties. The CEO just said he couldn't imagine that the candidate would make a good impression with the CEOs, the CIOs, or the COOs that they sell to. Body language makes a difference. And in the next few sessions, we're going to discuss the proper body language in interviewing. Stay tuned. This is Tony Bashara with the Job Search Solution.